Pisu Falls in northern Manitoba. It's probably about a 6 to 7 hour drive north of the city. Pisu Falls, really, really great. One night hiking trip. Riding Mountain has a ton of stuff. There's a ton of trails all through Riding Mountain National Park. There's a few other spots, like in, I'm having a brain fart here, Carberry, Spirit Sands, Spruce Woods. Spruce Woods has some good hikes you can do. There's some cabins you can hike out to. Sleeping Giant is not far. It's an 8-hour drive. There's so much you can do at Sleeping Giant Provincial Park in Ontario. Yeah, that's my big recommendation, honestly. Go to Sleeping Giant.
Yeah, it can be a 2-night. It can be a 2-night trip. It can be a 5-night trip, and it's so cool. You just look up photos. You'll be hooked immediately. You climb all the way to the top of this phenomenal mountain. What's super weird is it's just a mountain on a peninsula, and then there's nothing else of any height around. So you can just see all of the bay, and there are these incredible canyons that run through the mountain too, and you're just it's just stunning. I would look it up, and then I would go for sure.
Around the Giant. Just go around the Giant, and then the exit. The two different exit routes are both pretty similar. But go around the Giant and take the time to go up it as many times as possible.
Yeah,
because
there's 3 points.
There's 3 different viewpoints you can summit the Giant on, and they're all super different. So just take the extra time to summit it, as at least 2 times. It's the hardest part of the trek, but it's really cool. Yeah.
This is our 3rd season, so we're just wrapping up our 3rd season now. Generally, the rule is if it's Crown land, you can camp. Really, if you're anywhere north of the parks, on the east side of Winnipeg there, north of Nopeming and all of that, you're generally good to go. In terms of the fire bans, it is very strict. When fire bans are in effect, bring a stove, because especially
stoves are good.
Yeah, stoves are always good. If you're in the parks and you have a fire, a campfire during a fire ban, they will fly a helicopter over you and take you out of the woods. There's no, they don't mess. It's not a ticket. It's a helicopter ride back to the city. Well, in the parks, on those designated routes, you are obliged to camp at the designated sites. On any of the routes we run, it is against the conservation rules to camp outside of the designated sites. And I think that is true elsewhere in the parks.
I don't go off those designated routes a lot in the summer, but in the winter I'll sometimes use old logging roads and stuff and go just backcountry ski off around there because it's not so boggy. I would just you can buy those backcountry Manitoba atlases. They're mostly used by hunters, ATVers, snowmobilers, but they're really great. They show all the parks, all the wildlife management areas. They have all every little trail that's ever been cut is marked on those maps. Backcountry atlas in Manitoba is really useful. I have one in my car all the time, and sometimes I'll be because I drive in the winter. I'm driving I drive up to Barron's River a lot in the winter, so I'll often see a little trail off on the side and pull my car over and just pull open the atlas and look through and be where does this thing go? Can I ski down it for a little bit? It really is if you're on Crown land, it's the world is your oyster. It's up to you to go to the map store on Century, search Canada map sales, go there. They have a full big map of Manitoba, and you can find the exact locations for every map you want to buy, and they have really in-depth maps of every area.
And so you can sort out where is Crown land, or?
Yeah, they can help you with that. But generally, if there's no farmland or anything, it's usually Crown land, especially the further north you drive in Manitoba. Reserve land will be marked.
Yeah, so reserve land will be marked according to Twin River.
And also, if you do want to go and camp there, generally, if you phone the band office and ask, that's the rule of thumb, and they'll almost always say yes. But that's the courtesy that should be kind of upheld. Yeah.
Don't trespass on First Nation land without permission.
Yeah.
So I hand over here.
Yeah, I was just wondering about these designated sites at these parks. Are those the kind of traditional kind of sites where you have to kind of buy, like, reserve a spot, or is it like in Ontario where you just arrive and set up?
So the question was, these designated sites, do you need to reserve them, or is it like the Ontario where you can just go? Ontario? I'll figure it
out. So specifically for some of those Nopalman canoe routes, all of those sites are first come, first serve. So they're marked and they're designated, but there's no reservation system in place. I know that the parks are working on putting one together, but so like right now, for example, if you wanted to drive to Nopalman and canoe the Bird River, all you would need is Parks Manitoba pass for your car, and that is the only.
What about like Sleeping Giant? Is it kind of like provincial park?
Well, Sleeping Giant is different. I mean, it's Ontario, and they actually have a functioning backcountry pass system there, so you do pay a nightly rate.
No reservations.
Yeah, no reservations, but a nightly rate for being, in the backcountry.
Yeah, Riding Mountain has a few different good backcountry, like hiking campsites and stuff like that. They have the Parks Canada website is really great, so they have a ton of maps and all the reservations and stuff for that. There's a lot of different routes in Riding Mountain. Yeah.
So in terms of canoes, for example, it depends what you're using for flat water. Personally, like I wouldn't run a whitewater river in a fiberglass canoe, which is what a lot of the flat water boats are these days. But if you're paddling like a plastic boat from Canadian Tire, or whether you're paddling like an old oh, I would do that. I would do the Matic talking Canadian Tire. But like if you're paddling like a Royal X or something designed for whitewater, like like ABS or any of that, those are great. If you're paddling like if you're paddling like a 600-year-old Grumman from your backyard, your parents' backyard, then absolutely. I mean, send whatever in that thing. But bring duct tape. But I mean, generally, if it's all based on the material. So like, I would just look up what your boat is made out of.
Kevlar.
Sorry.
Kevlar.
Yeah, I mean, like, so you. Well, that's not true. I mean, you can run whitewater in Kevlar. I mean, you have to be prepared for repairs. Because it can happen, but I mean, they're pretty tough boats. I mean, some of the high-end, like Surf Rivers or whatever, you can make it happen. Oh no, they're tough.
Is that the cringe face?
I mean, I wouldn't do it.
They're expensive boats.
Yeah.
So you're all about the Royal X from whitewater.
Yeah, I mean, I would generally recommend. I mean, we like for our company, we use Novacraft Tough Stuff Prospectors, which are kind of built as this. They're like a lightweight. They're like a basalt weave. But they're kind of. I really like them because they're good. We use them for flat water and whitewater trips, and so they're a nice combination of pretty tough and durable, but also they're not that heavy. They're only 54 pounds each, which is quite nice for portaging and all that. Oh, yeah, I think that's correct. But you still have to be prepared for repairs no matter what you're paddling, generally. In terms of like other training and gear, like I said earlier, if you're doing whitewater, it's a really good idea to have your Swiftwater Rescue certification. Granted, I mean, I know for a fact that most people who paddle whitewater don't have their Swiftwater Rescue certification. It's a personal thing at that point, and if you're comfortable doing it, then it's kind of your call.
If you for the boats, like if you're looking to buy a boat, Novacraft and Esquif make really great whitewater boats. If you have a boat already, just look up the material. You can give the manufacturers. They're not huge companies. It's Canoes. You can give them a call and ask about your boat, and they'll give you a lot of information about running it in whitewater. The Manigatawgan has a portage on every rapid, so you can pull your boat aside, look at the rapid, and decide how comfortable you are running it based on what material your boat is and your ability. If you want to sort of gauge what your ability is, I would recommend going to the Whitemouth River in the spring. So you can drive to either the town of Whitemouth or the town of Elma, and they actually have, about an hour and a quarter east of Winnipeg, and they actually have maps. There's if you search a Whitemouth River canoe route, they have a map available online that shows all the rapids, what class they are, where you can park. Water levels are generally going to be best in like late May, early June, but a lot of those rapids are really easy to run at any water level. It's just you might scrape your boat up a little bit more at different times of year. But yeah, go out there, practice on those rapids. The Manitoba Whitewater Club also has a lot of information about where you can go near Winnipeg just to practice whitewater. But yeah, if you're going to go on the Manigatawgan, I would by yourself, I would recommend going and trying something before you leave. Like, go to the Whitemouth, go to Old Pinawa Dam. It has a spot that people often paddle on. You will scrape your boat up a little bit at that spot, so don't do that unless you have an old plastic boat that you're willing to get a little bit of a few scratch or yeah, and bring a helmet if you're going to do whitewater. It's important. Not a bike helmet. Yeah, not a bike helmet or single impact. Whitewater helmets are multi-impact.
Always wear a helmet. I think that's and a life jacket. That's true.
I do all the food for our trips, so I've had spent quite a few years now cooking a lot of food for canoe trips. But so generally, especially when you're canoeing, most people travel with barrels. There's, I don't know if you know what they look like, big blue barrels. They often have, backpack strap attachments so that they're less ridiculous to carry at portages. But when I'm prepping for trips, it's obviously always turns into a lot of dried goods and a lot of vegetables, just because, if you want to carry a huge cooler, props, like, good for you, but I certainly don't. So often what I'll do is, if I'm doing, like, say for example, I'm doing a 3-night trip, I might pack one pre-done frozen, like, protein for the first night, and then some fruit, vegetables, maybe some bacon for one of the breakfasts, and then generally I'm completely off of anything that needs to be refrigerated or frozen after the first 2 days. And then you're looking at like, one of my favorites is I do a vegetable pad thai, which is dead easy to pack for, vegetables and noodles, and then a sauce you can throw in the barrel. And there's just, everybody has their favorite camping meal. I know people who go on canoe trips and pack 5 dinners of craft dinner, and I respect that. But certainly there's opportunity to be more creative. Lots of good, like, Indian, like, I do a lot of, like, curries and stuff. Personally, I do a lot of curries that you can add fish to. On those days, because I do a lot of fishing when I canoe. So if I'm don't want to just fry or bread my fish, then I can toss them in the curry I've got prepped, and then breakfasts or oatmeal, or if I'm ambitious, pancakes and bacon. Red River cereal, the only canoeing food. You only brought Red River cereal on a canoe trip, you would live 1,000 years. It's really, like, your imagination is the limit for canoe tripping food. There's people who dry everything and bring that, and I don't do that because we just run such a a pretty significant volume of trips that my kitchen would just be full of drying food constantly. But that's, like, great. Like, all those dried fruits are phenomenal, and people who dry some of their dinners as well is really great for stews and stuff like that. But yeah, you really do whatever you want, and there's, once you do a few, it's Sam's got some beans.
Oh yeah, beans. No, if you're gonna dehydrate anything, fruit is the best thing to dehydrate. Dehydrate lots of fruit. Beans and pulses are your best friend. Red River. Lentils and Red River will keep you strong for weeks on end.
Tonight back to Mira.
Hi. So thank you again, everyone, for coming out tonight. Tristan and Sam are going to stick around for a drink. You can ask them individual questions. You can hang out here in the patio. You can hang out in the bar area, which is actually our boardroom. There's a lot of people here. I bet there might be someone else who has ideas about cool camping trips if you want to meet your fellow backcountry people. And also just the final plug to sign that Seal River petition and give us your email addresses so you don't miss the next cool fun night. But we need to be out in, that's like an hour from now. We're good. We'll eventually have to leave the patio by 9. There are cool bars in the neighborhood. You can all have follow-up conversations in after this. Thanks again, everyone. And